Hi guys! I've got a great video for you this week. I'm going to be talking about exactly how you can use corporate storytelling to empower your business and skyrocket your blog. Last week was National Storytelling Week, and I did a bit of a special video for you about stories and why they are so awesome and amazing. And I promised you that I will be back with more information on that and more details of exactly how you can use stories to build a phenomenally powerful brand and create a marketing powerhouse in the form of your blog. And today's the day we're going to start. Now, there are loads of ways that stories can be used to build your brand and market your business. I would literally be here all day if I tried to go through all of them. So today I'm going to focus on 5, and I will be back in later videos to explain some of the rest. Now, one of the most vital ways stories can be used to empower your business are through the emotional impact that they actually have. Stories pack a real emotional punch. There is a false perception in the business world that marketing has to be very logical, very clinical, very unemotional. The theory goes, there's no feeling in business. Sorry, I'm calling bullshit. That's a load of crap. There is loads of feeling in business. People are really emotional beings. Thoughts, actions, and most importantly, decisions all turn on emotion. And stories carry some of the strongest emotions going. Now, science tells us that logic plus emotion equals a decision. And most of us have got down the logical part of marketing. Most of us understand that if we explain to people in a way that they can comprehend what their problem is and how we can fix it, they're going to buy from us. That's the logical course to take in marketing. The problem with this approach, though, is that it completely lacks emotion. It often completely lacks anything even vaguely interesting. It's a very clinical, very sterile way to go about trying to convince people that your brand is right for them, that your products and your services are right for them, and that they really, really want to get on board and work with you and nobody else. That kind of decision takes emotion. That kind of decision takes a connection on an emotional level between you and your potential clients. Now, through the use of corporate storytelling, you can learn how to craft stories that speak to people on a really deep, emotional, primal level. Stories that compel them to not only buy your services, buy your products, and love your brand, but to also become lifelong customers. Stories can get people invested in you and your brand a hell of a lot quicker than anything else. And because of that emotional connection, people are going to move to action faster. Stories literally trigger people to do things far quicker than anything else because they talk to their emotions as well as the logical parts of their brain. They tap into both at once. There is a logical narrative to a story that can explain something in an easily understood and logical manner that you can understand. But there is also an emotional narrative that's going on at the same time that makes you feel a certain way. And your feelings, more than your logic, are going to determine what action you take at the end of the story. And what is it that all marketing does? It tries to get people to act on a call to action. It's what we put in everything. We put it on our blog posts, we put it in our sales pitches, we put it on our web copy, our newsletters, everything. Calls to action, they're the thing that gets us paid. And stories are the thing that are going to make people act. Another great way that stories can empower your business is that they are truly memorable. How many times have you listened to a seriously dull sales pitch, hung up the phone, logged off your email, switched off the telly, or just walked away and started talking to somebody else, and within 5 seconds you have completely forgotten it? Totally forgotten it. You may have a vague recollection of it if somebody mentions it to you, but you won't remember the specifics. You won't remember any of the main points that all of the marketing behind it was trying to get across to you. And the simple reason for that is the majority of marketing is just not memorable. If you want your points to stick, if you want people to retain the information you're telling them, you need to craft a message that is truly, truly memorable. And a memorable message is one that consists of your key points very clearly articulated and nothing else. Stories are a way for you to quickly and easily make your points in a compelling manner that people actually remember without having to go into a load of detail that they don't care about, they don't need to know, that's just going to put them off and drown your real message. Stories trigger emotional responses in us, and those emotional responses translate to memories. When somebody tells you a story and it affects you in any way, good, bad, whatever, it could make you feel happy, sad, uplifted, empowered, it could make you laugh, it doesn't matter. If it has an emotional effect on you, you're going to remember it. And that is an astonishingly powerful thing to use in your marketing, because you can tell a story, and in that story you can put across your marketing message, you can put across your pitch, you can put across the points that you have to drive home, but you can do it in such a way that it's not only entertaining or empowering or uplifting or funny, it's memorable. People will remember it. Another thing that we learn in marketing is that it takes a lot of touching to get people to buy into your brand. And by that, I'm not being dodgy. I mean, you have to connect with them multiple times before they will actually get on board and buy what you're selling. Now, this could be that they read a tweet, they read an email, they read a blog post, they see a video, they get your newsletter. It doesn't matter what it is, but you need to be talking to them, you need to be touching them, you need to be connecting with them multiple times before they will actually relate to you enough and be invested in you enough to actually part with their money. Stories connect with people a lot quicker and are a lot more memorable than almost every other form of marketing. If you combine the power of video and stories, because video is the most powerful media that is available, you have an astonishingly powerful marketing tool at your disposal. People remember stories and the messages they carry much more quickly than they do everything else. There is a reason that the adverts on telly often tell stories. And which adverts do you prefer? Which adverts do you actually pay attention to? Which adverts do you remember? They're the ones that tell a story, they're the ones that make you feel something, and they're the ones that you remember. You can't buy a brand if you can't remember what the brand is. So now that you know that stories are emotionally powerful and extremely memorable, let's talk branding, because that's really what you all want to know about. How can stories make your brand more powerful? The answer is really simple. You have what are called archetypes. Archetypes are the kind of stories that have been around forever, that will be around forever, that crop up in every single culture across the world in one form or another. Same story, different characters, different details. These are called archetypes. There are archetypal plots and there are archetypal characters. You can use both of these in your branding, and they are really, really simple and very effective ways of crafting a stupendously powerful brand that is also very, very distinct. The thing with branding is you need to be able to create a really, really memorable brand, a brand that is very distinct from other brands, a brand that does something, says something, supplies something that only you can do. That's the only way to create a strong brand. If your brand is representative of something that's a bit wishy-washy and not very clear, if it's something that's just same old, everybody else does this, what's new, I don't care, nobody's going to pay any attention to a brand unless there is something about it that sets it apart, something about it that differentiates it from the competition, and stories can do that for you. Stories are the perfect way of putting across your ideas, your principles, your methods, your products in such a way that they simultaneously talk to people on an instinctual, primal level that they intuitively recognise and respond to, but at the same time make them very different. This is the magic of archetypes. Archetypes give you the blueprint. You, your personal experiences, your philosophies, your education, your background, your aspirations, your passions, your goals, those are all the dressing. They are the characters and the details that you are going to infuse into that archetype to make that story that everybody is already going to know yours. You are making something that is universally understood, completely different, and your own at the same time. And that is one of the strongest ways that stories can empower your business. They can also empower your blogging as well. When you filter all of your blogging efforts through this system, when you use archetypes, archetypal plots, archetypal characters, when you use stories to tell your story, to explain to people what you are doing, who you are, and what you have, and how it will make their lives better, suddenly you go from being a same old, to a, oh my god, I want more of this. Oh my god, I have to have that. The way to get people to have that gut reaction, that visceral kind of, I have to have that now response, is to make yourself stand out, to make yourself so different, so unique, so interesting that people just want more. Which brings me to the next way that corporate storytelling can empower your blogging. Stories capture the imagination. They are inherently interesting. Stories are what we turn to when we're bored. How often have you been bored to tears at work, come home, slouch on the sofa, and the first thing you do is switch on the telly? Why? You're looking for something interesting, you're something fun, something to take your mind off all that mind-numbing work that you've been doing all day. You are looking for a story, and they are supplied in the most insane numbers these days. They are everywhere. Gone are the days when the only forms of stories were told around a campfire. We have bookshops full of them. We have internet sites full of them. We have Kindle and other e-readers that are full of them. And if we haven't got enough stories from our books, we can switch on the telly or go to the cinema and look, there are a million more. TV is nothing but stories. It doesn't matter what channel you're on. News is stories. TV shows are stories. Films are stories. Every single thing you watch on television, including the adverts, are stories. So the thing we turn to when we're bored to spark our imagination and give us a bit of fun are all based on stories. Why on earth don't we use stories in our business to make our business less boring? How many times have you tried to pitch something to somebody and you have felt that you were losing them? How many times have they looked like they were about to fall asleep on you? How many times have they started checking their phone, their email, or just looking the other way when you're talking to them? You're not holding their interest. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. It's really, really difficult to hold people's attention these days. Our attention spans are getting increasingly shorter, but the amount of information that we need to convey is getting increasingly more complicated. Marketing is getting so much harder every year because the things we have to explain to people, the things we have to tell them, the things we have to convince them of, are getting more and more complex, and yet they are not able to pay attention as long as they used to be. It's getting to the point where people need to get your message in literally the space of seconds, or you'll lose them. And when you only have a few minutes, or even just a few seconds, to catch somebody's attention and get them to listen to what you're saying to them, you need something that is not going to bore them. Stories are the way you keep people's interest. They are inherently interesting. If you tell them right, they're not only interesting, they are incredibly entertaining. And that's what you want. You want your audience to be informed and entertained at the same time. Which brings me to the final point that I want to make today, and that is the motivational impact that stories have on us. Now, if you've gone to all the effort of connecting with people on an emotional level, if you've managed to explain your message to them in a way that they can understand and relate to, if you've made it memorable, if you have differentiated yourself from the competition and really stood out from the crowd, and if you have kept them entertained in the process, you are almost home. There is only one more thing that you have to do. You have to motivate them. You have to get them to actually take action. Marketing is all about getting people to act upon a call to action. I said that before. But what exactly does that mean? And how exactly do you get people to do that? How do you motivate them to take the action you want them to take? All good stories have, at their core, a moral. You know the expression, the moral of the story is... If you know how to use stories, you can use the message of your story, the moral of your story, to drive home the point that you are trying to make, the objective that you are trying to achieve. You can literally use the moral of your story to compel people to take the action you want them to take. Not because you've thrown a shiny pitch at them, not because you're offering them free postage or some other gimmicky way of getting them on board, but simply because your story has convinced them that doing what you want them to do is the right thing to do. How good is that? Stories can convince people to do what you want them to do, not because you've tricked them into it, not because you have flashed a load of shiny objects at them and offered them a load of free stuff, as well as whatever it is you want them to do, not because you've undercut the competition, not because of any other marketing trick you can think of, but simply because it is the right thing for them to do. And the majority of people are hardwired to always do the right thing if they can. Stories will do that for you. So now you're on board with the how and exactly what stories can do for your business. You probably want to get down to the nitty-gritty and figure out exactly what it is you need to be doing day in, day out to use stories in this way and to get that awesome power into your marketing. Don't worry, I'm here to help. I will be back with more tips and tricks and ways of using this in your business really, really soon. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you never miss a video, and I will see you really soon. Bye!